And welcome to this edition of Coffee with Graeme here on Amateur Sports TV. Thank you for joining us today on this Tuesday morning here on the network. Today we got a special show for you guys. We're talking to a CEO, an owner, the chairman, and a lead coach of a company in Nick Jones for Whitetail Sports. And what Whitetail Sports is doing this year is truly inspirational to see. What they're doing is they're actually running camps for kids ages 6 to 10 and ages 11 to 15, really emphasizing the fact that physical activity is so important, especially in these times with this COVID-19 pandemic. Awesome that they've been able to get these camps running, and we're going to bring in the man himself right now, Nick Jones. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I saw on your Instagram that you were out at the lake earlier in the week. How was that like?
Uh, couldn't have been better. The weather was fantastic. Lake was nice and cool, so on a real hot day, perfect for that. So nice bit of downtime. Again, just as much as physical activity is great for your mind and body, just total relaxation, not thinking about anything is also great for your mind and body. So that was a nice little break.
Yeah, and I saw that you had a pretty sweet place out there, a pretty nice view of the water out there as well. Is there where is your cabin exactly?
Well, I'm kind of blessed that I have access to a few cabins. That's my wife's, I guess, her uncle's. So her aunt's family's cabin. So that's out at Twin Lakes. So just about an hour's drive. So it's not too far. Just backs right out onto the lake, and it's just beautiful.
Sweet. And as you said, always nice to kind of get away from stuff for a bit and some nice relaxation for sure. So, getting into your time with Whitetail Sports, I found this out today that you are the owner, but you're not just the owner, you're the chairman, CEO, and the lead coach as well. So, just so many different positions with any company is a lot to handle, but it seems like you handle it pretty well. How really difficult is it to handle all those things all at once? Is it pretty easy for you?
Well, right now, it's kind of a small operation. Like we just, even though we tried to kick something off last year, it's basically just started this year. It's been a bit of a race around the block because of COVID, but I'm a phys ed teacher by trade, so in doing I ran the first week of camps by myself with 7 kids, and they're all kind of aged between 8 and kind of 13. So I was able to group them all together and run it like I would do if I was doing classes in the school. So it ran pretty smooth. I was very, very happy with the kids we had. It was a great start to the year in terms of the camps, and it gave me confidence for the future. And they were truly an inspirational bunch. So basically, it's just enjoyment for me. I mean, I do it for a career. Some people would say it's why you're giving yourself some extra punishment when you could be, just chilling, and enjoying the time away from kids. But
Yeah.
you do it for a reason. And particularly this year, I felt driven to try and push it out there. So it's no different for me in my day job. Just providing them with activities, making sure they're hydrated, et cetera, et cetera. So my thing now is that as it grows, the education side to make sure that everyone that starts to work for me has the same ideals and goals and enjoyment that I do. So that's kind of what I look for now that I'm having to expand the operation somewhat. So hopefully they all have the same love for it as I do.
And talking about expanding the operation there, obviously all companies always look to expand over time, but for a company like Whitetail Sports and yourself being the owner, being the chairman, the CEO, and the lead coach, where are the parts that you guys are looking to expand going forward in the future?
In the near future, I brought in some ties that I have, some connections that I have with previous people I've worked with in various different sports. So, for example, I've tried to bring in for our open house, which is tomorrow, Sunday the 9th, a bit of a plug for that, at Deer Lodge Community Center from 1 to 3 p.m. Basically, I've just brought in some people that I know can connect with certain sports. So they have expertise in the various sports that we run on a multi-sports camp. So the parents can get a taster of what goes on in the camp and in the individual activities. So they're all kind of based on stations. There'll be timings for parents and kids to go around, experience the whitetail experience, how we do sports. So I brought them in for their expertise. Some I've worked with before. Some are educators like myself. Others are just very very keen to contribute and get active themselves and enjoy the working with the kids.
And speak of the devil here, Nick, we do seem to have this problem a lot. It's definitely on my end. I can't seem to hear you. I'm sure everyone else could hear you during that answer that you just gave. But we're going to take a quick commercial break here. We're going to sort it out on my side. This is happening quite a bit, but not to worry. We're going to hear from our supportive sponsors pretty early here in the show, the guys that have decided he's sponsored today's show. I'll be right back with Nick Jones, the CEO, owner, chairman, and lead coach of Whitetail Sports here on Amateur Sports TV's Coffee with Graeme. Graeme Forsyth back here on Coffee with Graeme, this edition with Nick Jones, Whitetail Sports owner, chairman, CEO, and lead coach. He gives us a nice little wave there, and talking to Nick about just what he does with Whitetail Sports before the break, talking about how he had some time to have some relaxation out at one of his cottages before getting back in the city, and he's here to do this interview now. But just talking about expanding, I know that the answer is going to be the same, but talking about how as the company grows, obviously every company who's looking to make strides to improve and get their name out there will be looking to expand. So you talked about it before we went to break, but could you talk about it again for us?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Basically, the first week camp that we ran, it was just myself. We had seven awesome kids on camp. Luckily, they were kind of at the same age bracket. We were able to group them from like 8 to 13. I think the eldest one was. But if we had the youngest kids in there, then we'd have to you can't link a 5-year-old with a 13-year-old. It would just kind of be pretty difficult if it was just yourself. So the natural thing would be to bring in other coaches, other people to work with the athletes, and kind of logically base it around the sports that you're working with. So for my camps, with the multi-sport camp, we were kind of limited to the sports that we do. So I'm lucky that I've had connections with various sports that we do. For example, I've got a cricket expert in. I brought in a rugby expert to work with kids who I've worked with in the past through Rugby Manitoba. I've got someone in who's got experience with ultimate frisbee. I've got someone who has experience with soccer. So the theme is to kind of bring in people with experience, that they're going to be knowledgeable in their area and be able to make it fun and enjoyable, so that parents and kids themselves are going to want to come on the camps. They're going to want to enjoy themselves. One of the key things I look at in someone that's going to come and work for Whitetail Sports Camps and coaching is basically an enjoyment and love. Like, I have a huge enjoyment and love for the sports that I'm doing, and for sports in general, and for healthy, active living. I mentioned before that I'm a physical education teacher by trade as well during the year. So many people, I think that I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, but I do this because I enjoy doing it. It makes me feel energized, and I'm looking for that in people that come and coach for the company.
So moving into the location that you guys picked this year, the Deer Lodge Community Center is where you guys are running the camps out of this year, but there's also a lot of other locations too that you guys do have on your website, like Assiniboine Park, Cricket Fields, one at Dakota, and Pan Am Pool. So, what was the decision to go with the Deer Lodge to be the host for the camp this year?
Well, last year before things kind of didn't quite work out, we had Deer Lodge had given us a good deal and were very, very supportive and willing to help promote to their community members. And we felt that using them again this year as a base, it's kind of a good location. It's not far from Route 90, so whether you're the north or the south, it's kind of it's kind of quite easy to get to where it is. So location-wise was ideal, and also in terms of knowledgeability with their staff and communicating with me, it was a smooth transition. So to keep that as simple and as easy as possible, even with COVID, they were offering the support for this year. So for me to say sorry, I'm moving somewhere else, I couldn't do that, and I'm glad that we chose Deer Lodge again because they've been fantastic.
And communication with the Deer Lodge company has been good?
Absolutely. Yeah, they've been wonderful.
Awesome. And just looking at your website, the rules for the camp this year, it's 20 per age group. So what was the decision to go with 20 kids per age group? Maybe not going a bit more, not going a bit less?
Well, initially, we were going with COVID regulations. So we have a certain amount of space that we can use. We have an indoor hall. However, making sure if it rains, that we have somewhere that everyone could be, socially distanced to the 2 meters, at least initially, to make sure that we're able to keep the sanitizing up and all the usual kind of regulations that we have to follow in order to be able to run. It was key to keep the numbers at a manageable level. Now that being said, the regulations changed, and we were able to kind of be more flexible with our numbers. So depending on what we get, we're looking at 20 to 30 per age group. So you're looking at staggering meals and times, so they all get a chance to do all the different sports on a rotation basis. But they're all you're able to sanitize between each of the stations. You're able to so while the attendees of camp are having a quick break, cooling off, the other group's still going. The older group will go longer than the younger group, so there won't be any overlapping with the activities and with lunch times and break times. So there'll be 2 separate groups, but the sanitizing and the hydrating and the keeping out of the sun parts that happen in between each of the rotations will be totally separate. So it allows it for it to be kind of expanded somewhat.
Yeah. And talking about just the organization that goes into this camp, obviously every year organizing a camp like this for kids, there's a lot of organization that goes into that, but especially with COVID this year and how paranoid a lot of parents are about their kids maybe catching the virus. Do you think that there is more an emphasis on maybe the convenience of the making the organization more like the stations more convenient for kids?
Yes and no. It's been, I mean, having gone through, being an educator and having gone through a lot of the drama and just nail-biting stuff that come with COVID, we're keen to. I'm personally keen to get out there and spread the message that if you do have an environment that is maintained to a high standard of sanitizing, and you keep the measures in place that are designed to keep people apart. So first thing you do, I mean, I'm immunocompromised, so I can't cut any corners because that would risk my health. So the first thing that happens when parents bring kids is they get screened, parents and kids both. the usual kind of COVID screening questions. And if there are any boxes ticked, if there's any sign of the kid being sick on a day, parents have to keep them home. If they get sick during, then they'll be straight away segregated from everyone else. Home will be called, and parents will be informed to come and pick the child up. And then, so we're being very, very careful. I mean, personally, whether it call me selfish or whatever, but I can't risk my own health, particularly with the job that I do and the kids that I work with. It's a career, and you can't live without your career. So I've been through a lot in my life, so I can sympathize with parents and everything, but I'm trying to find a way to let them know that it's safe. That if everything's done properly, then they'll have as close as you can call it, like no problems in terms of things will happen, but we like to think that our precautions we put in place will kind of limit any of the COVID problems popping up.
Right. So now moving on to the fee that these camps bring, it said on the website a fee of $300, and then for multiple child, there's a multiple child deal with $250. So just if you don't mind me asking, what goes into that $300 fee? Obviously, the kids learn how to play the games the right way, they learn the fundamentals, and they play a various number of sports. Is that probably the biggest part of that budget there, of what's going into that $300?
Pretty much. That's the gist of it. But we have actually introduced a COVID discount. So the price of the camps have reduced to $220 for the rest of the summer. And also any attendees that go to the open house get a further $20 reduction. So their fee then becomes $200. So just the thought of that, it's difficult. A lot of people, lost their jobs, been on CERB, some not even qualifying for that, so it's tough out there to pay for any kind of camps, but bringing the cost down, I feel, might encourage some more. And I don't want to, kids need to get out and get active. So I need to find a way to encourage parents. Like, I don't want to scare them off by having a high cost. So bringing that cost down, we're hopefully trying to encourage some people. It's difficult to find, comparable prices this year because, we're an unknown quantity, and to be an unknown quantity, even though you're offering some of the services that, bigger companies such as like Mini-U or whatever offer, it's a COVID year. So as we know, it's pretty wacky. So nothing is as it would normally be. There is no normal. So this new normal is to try and find a way to encourage people to come out. Another thing that we've done is that we have introduced kind of a sponsored child kind of thing. I've got 2 fully funded students, or athletes, students, camp attendees, call them what you may, but they have applied successfully to be sponsored for the remaining weeks of camp. So these students who are in need of a release somewhat are getting their camps free of charge, courtesy of Whitetail Sports Camps and coaching. It was something we introduced this year as kind of paying it forward, kind of giving it back to some families that can't afford to pay, but are getting that bit of it, want to get involved and spread the good news of the company. The kids need a break, and we're willing to give them it.
Great. That's great to hear. And I think that's a great idea for sure. Giving back to kids that maybe are less fortunate than others in these times, and still letting them be able to play these great sports that you guys offer at these camps. So moving into the first camp that you guys hosted this year, it's already passed 2 camps coming up, but the first one was from July 27th to the 31st. So just talking about, it's your first camp of the year, first go out of the year during this COVID-19 pandemic with the camps and stuff. Just talking about how the day-to-day schedule worked for the camp in that first week.
Well, it's your usual kind of 9 to 4 camp that you'd kind of get. We do offer like an early drop off and a late pickup for an additional small fee. But with the 7 kids that we had on camp, it was pretty much 9 to 4. Parents dropped them off at 9 o'clock, if not slightly before, and then picked them up at 4 o'clock. We were straight into warm ups and tag games, which turned out to be kind of a popular thing throughout the week. Gets the heart rate elevated. Then we kind of rotated the sports through the week. We would do probably 3 or 4 a day to break it up and be able to fit everything in, with the breaks to come in and cool down, because it was a particularly hot week. So sometimes we had to add a few more sports in there to mix it up a little bit, so that we could do the activities for less time and fit in more breaks to come inside and hydrate and cool down. But yeah, so we managed to do, I think, 5 or 6 different activities in the week, and then you had the tag games in there. Probably did 4 or 5 different tag games throughout the week. So yeah, lots of activities to do, spread around, say mostly aiming for like 4 a day.
Yeah.
But periods of like anywhere between probably about an hour per activity. And they come in to hydrate, have a break and snack, back out again, then back in. So 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, basically, is how we were rolling it out.
Nice. And talking about some new sports that you guys introduced this year, I saw this on your Facebook page. It's called Gaga Ball.
Gaga Ball, yes.
Could you explain what Gaga Ball really is?
This is something that I picked up on my education travels.
Yeah.
It's basically sort of things. So we kind of trying to find different advice from me for them, because I think 1 or 2 had played it before. But the sport originates in India, I believe, and it's just basically, who doesn't like whacking a ball at each other, kind of in a safe way? If the ball has to stay on the ground, you're only allowed to hit it once unless you hit it against the wall, which means you get another hit. You have to hit below the knees, so there's no face high shots, no cheap shots. If you get hit, you're out of the octagon, and then it carries on until there's a winner. So it can be really fast paced, really energetic. The kids are using the whole bodies basically to get moving, without realizing it. They're just having a blast and just moving around, jumping around, trying to hit each other with the ball, basically. It was a great success. So I'll be including that more in the camps that we're doing in the following weeks.
Great. Awesome here. It definitely looks like a fun game. And if I'm putting my shoes in a little kid's shoes, I'm thinking, why wouldn't I like to take out some of my adrenaline filled energy and just whack kids with the ball? That's awesome to see. Yeah. Then going into the sports that you guys have, there's soccer, there's Gaga Ball, there's cricket, ultimate, and fitness as well. And on the website, just looking at your guys' messages, you teach kids the fundamentals of the sports more. So how important do you think it is to not only have fun with the sport, but really teach the fundamentals to these kids?
Well, I think it's exceptionally important. Like, not only basically we treat them like games. So they're not technically playing the sport from the start, but they're building up their skills throughout the week. Now with the fundamentals, we're just giving them a taster, really. Probably between 4 and 5 hours per sport a week is only enough for a taster, but that might ignite the spark for them to go and maybe seek out somewhere else to take part in the sport. So for example, I've got connections to cricket and rugby, because they're, being English, they're typically my sports that I played and coached through the years. So but it's my job to be like, hey, this is what they have. For example, the Manitoba Cricket Association has a cricket camp at Assiniboine Park the following week after our camps are finished. So we've got a kind of mutual agreement that if anyone enjoys the cricket There's a lot of people who've been liking our social media in terms of the cricket posts and asking questions about that. So the likely connection to other sports organizations, again, we're just dipping their feet in the water and then hopefully passing them on to those who are who run the individual sports and hopefully gain a lifelong love of the sports that I have.
And talking about cricket, it's nowhere near as popular here as it is outside of countries in Canada. But talking about how you guys offer cricket, talking about how maybe it could open the door up for more kids to enjoy the sport here in Canada and get them on the right track to maybe for the skilled kids and even the kids that are less skilled to play cricket and all on a recreational team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we build up, like, we don't technically play it. Well, by the end of the week, we're playing more of the kind of real cricket, but we build up with games like continuous cricket, which is basically you run from a point to a point, and the ball has to get back to the person who throws the ball at the stumps. And if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you're out, and therefore, the next person comes in, etc., etc. It's literally continuous. You run. So it's kind of got two. The kids get energized, but also they're running as hard as they can and trying to, they're getting the heart rate buzzing. So just little introduction games that build them up to the real game, like where they're actually scoring, like they're aware of how to score the runs, how to score, how to run between the wickets, how to bowl, how to field, how to catch, all the things that we break up day by day. So one day they might be doing catching, the next they might be doing some batting, then they'll be doing some bowling, and then by then you've got 3 days covered, and then you're playing more of a bigger game towards the end of the week. So it's kind of how we introduce it for the other sports. I mean, you can't walk before you can climb, right? So
Right. Yeah.
Same with others, like the ultimate. Teach them how to do a backhand, a forehand, how to move around, how to play defense, and build that up to a game of ultimate. Across the board, it's basically the only thing that we throw them right into the deep end at. It's pretty much gargle ball and spike ball, which are very easy to pick up. Just a couple of rules need going over, and then boom, the kids are playing, and they can play for hours. And there's always time after lunch and whatever for them to pick up. Spike ball is always available for them to go and practice their skills at while the others are still eating lunch. And it's kind of cool that they want to spend extra time, when they could be kind of sitting chilling to continue to be active and practice their skills.
Yeah, and I think that just shows to how strong your guys' program is, that it's got these kids interested in the sports they're playing, and it's also great to see that these kids aren't just sitting around. They want to be active all the time while they're at your camps. Well, Nick, we're going to get into the final part of the interview in just a moment here. We're going to take our last commercial break of the show here on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. I've been joined by Nick Jones, CEO, chairman, the owner, and the league coach of Whitetail Sports. We're going to hear from our support sponsors in just a moment here, but we'll be back with Nick Jones in just a moment.
At Collins Hotel, we have you and your family's comfort in mind. Relax in one of our 16 suites featuring king or queen-size beds and 36-inch TVs. Suites also include a mini fridge and other kitchen appliances to make your stay as comfortable as possible. During your stay in Pilot Mound, visit Weiser's Restaurant, our attached family-friendly restaurant and bar. It is the perfect location to host group meals, dine with the family, or unwind after a hockey game. Come in and meet our friendly staff offering daily specials on food and drinks, Wing Night Wednesdays, Buffet Fridays, and multiple TVs to watch the game. Weiser's is the place to be. Collins Hotel and Weiser's Restaurant and Bar, located across the street from Blackjack Stewart Arena off Highway 3 in Pilot Mound.
Graeme Forsyth back here with Nick Jones, the owner, and he's also the CEO, chairman, and lead coach of Whitetail Sports, joining us today to talk about the great camps that Whitetail Sports has going on this year during the COVID-19 pandemic, giving these kids ages 6 to 10 and ages 11 to 15 to really have a chance to get out there and do some physical activity while also social distancing. It's awesome to see. And what we're actually going to do here is we're going to link down their website down below here, as you guys can see that graphic rolling. If you guys want to sign up for the Whitetail Sports camps, you can visit whitetailsports.com, and then all the information is on their website. So before we got into our last commercial break here on the show, we were talking to Nick about how the first week of camps were rolling, how those kind of panned out. Seems like it went well and they had a pretty good turnout. Talking to Nick as well about the fundamentals about the games that they're teaching, the sports they're teaching, and how they're making it fun for kids as well. And we also learned about a new sport called Gaga Ball as well. I suggest you guys check that out on their Facebook page. But we're just going to get into the next two camps that you guys are running in these next few weeks at Whitetail Sports. The next two camps are supposed to go August 10th to 14th, and then August 17th to the 21st. So looking at the first camp, how things were going, you said things were running pretty smoothly, but were there anything that you guys are looking to change going into the next few camps?
Really, the only thing that's going to change is extra staff, the extra bodies, basically. The introduction of maybe one or two other sports, like Gaga Ball, for example, was just a final day treat for the kids on the last camp. That's obviously going to be incorporated a little bit more in the space we have. So other sports have to kind of change a little bit in terms of either the time in which we do them or the amount of days in which we do them to fit them into the schedule. So, the other things might become with some other sports, for example, and that will change as well. So, I mean, the more sports we do and introduce the kids to, the better, really. But they'll still get to learn a lot about each of the individual sports. Really, there isn't really much that needs to change. It's pleasantly surprising. As I said before, we were very, very lucky to have the attendance that we did. The kids were awesome, like super well behaved. Didn't really have any issues in terms of social distancing. They didn't ask questions. We had kids that wanted to be the sanitized person, to go around with a spray bottle and spray hands every time we come in from each of the activities. And, it's kind of cool that the kids wanted to take some kind of leadership in it too. So really, it's hard to believe, but there wouldn't be any changes that I would make. The only changes that would happen is if there were some younger campers, and then we'd have to kind of introduce the staggered system where we keep both groups separate, and one group's having longer than the others, and so that we'll see how that works if we have different age groups signed up for this coming week and for our last camp on the 17th.
And of course, dealing with younger kids, they're impressionable, but they can also maybe not always follow the rules. So it's awesome to see that you guys have had that buy-in from these kids to follow the sanitation rules, the social distancing rules that you guys got in place. So I just want to move on to the open house finally here. You guys are hosting the open house this Sunday, August 9th. So when this interview airs, the open house will already be packed, but Whitetail Sports hosting an open house to talk about the camps and talking about the physical activity during this COVID-19 pandemic time, just trying to ease the minds of the parents maybe looking to sign up their kids for these camps. What do you think is what is this open house going to consist of? Is it going to be more the focus on telling parents not to worry about maybe the risks of COVID-19 in the camp like this?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously there's going to be, several prongs to the fork here. That is, number one is that, to show parents that it is safe to allow, your kids to come on these kind of camps, that, that we will have the highest level of safety in terms of sanitization, all the equipment, the campus hands, that kind of stuff. And it is safe to come, provided that the camp that they're coming to has these regulations in place. They are very, very rigid in terms of what cans and can't do to avoid any kind of potential contamination. Obviously, the second point would be that, we are a new company. We aren't very well known yet, and it gives people in the area, even from further afield, to come in and, experience what we do at no cost to them. So, they're coming in, they're seeing the sports we do, they're meeting some of the coaches that they might be working with in the week, and basically getting a taste of what it's like. So that in itself is another kind of a big thing, that they know that they're not, let's say they're getting the kids active for a couple of hours, getting them out the house, if you want to say that. I guess to experience what we are, and hopefully they go home happy, they've had a great time, enjoyed the sports that they've done, and they want to do more. And that's kind of what we're looking for. Kind of try and build on that good vibe, spread word of mouth. You can't beat it. So hopefully they go home, tell their friends that they had a great time, with Whitetail Sports Camps, and that they too should sign up for the camps, because they'll have a great time. So we'll see how that goes, but we're hoping. There's been a lot of positive vibes about the open house, so we'll see how that goes.
And how many are you expecting to come to the open house? Do you have a number that's expected to come?
It could really, we have no idea. It could be anywhere between could be 10, could be 20, could be 40. But we're running various stations like we would during the camp time. So there'll be probably, I think there's 4 different activities going on at a time. So campers will be able to get a chance to move around from spot to spot, get a taste of everything, without having to kind of rush around and maybe not get to experience everything.
Great. Well, Nick, obviously some positive vibes going into the open house tomorrow on August 9th. I just want to say thanks for joining us today on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. Just letting us know what Whitetail Sports is all about. It's awesome to see. And once again, guys, you can check out their camps at whitetailsports.com. It's right down there on the ticker, as you guys can just visit that website, and then all the information will be there. Nick, thanks for joining us today. Have a good one. I hope you all the best.
Thanks for having us on, Graeme. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Take care. And Nick Jones, the CEO, the owner, the league coach, and as well as the chairman from Whitetail Sports, joining us on this edition of Coffee with Graeme. And sound like a broken record here, but if you guys do want to check out the camps, you guys go ahead and check out the website that we got rolling down below right here at whitetailsports.com, and you can check out all the information of how you can register for camps. They got some great stuff cooking up there. And Gaga Ball is a new one that I've heard of today. Never heard of the game before. It's a new game, as Nick said, that he implemented for fun, and it seems like it got pretty good reception from the kids at camp from that July 27th to 31st slot. So that's going to do it for us today at Amateur Sports TV. I've been your host, Graeme Forsyth of Coffee with Graeme. Thanks for joining us on the network. Thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We hope you guys check us out in our upcoming episodes coming up here on Amateur Sports TV. Of course, we got the finale of the Mountain Mustangs Time on Championship Rewind coming up this Thursday, so you guys aren't going to want to miss that. We got a good one. Xander Carroll joins the show with us. And thanks to our sponsors for sponsoring today's show. Without you guys, I say it all the time, but I really am thankful, and we're thankful as a company for having you guys sponsor this show, because without you guys, this show and all our shows would not happen. And until next time, I'm your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, signing off. And until next time, just grab your cup of joe like I just did, sit back, and enjoy our shows. I'm going to give you a salute here, and we're signing off.